Kirkas Hetki, mä oon Tisletalebani Malvera. Ollaan siis legendaarisella Islay-viskisaarella selvittämässä skottiviskin mysteerejä. Mennään siis juttelemaan vähän asiantuntijan kanssa ja katsotaan, että saadaanko sen aksentista mitään irti. Menossa. So, first off, a little lesson. The island is called Islay. The distillery is called
Bunnahabhain.
Alright, we've got the easiest/hardest thing out of the way.
Okay.
So, Islay, how does an island with only a couple of thousand people, essentially no barley really growing here, somehow become the whiskey mecca of, well, let's say Scotland, if not the world?
Okay, we are well placed for making whisky.
All right.
Back in the days when there was much less production, we did grow enough barley to meet the demands. Obviously, as the years have gone on and production has gone up, so has transportation become more readily available. So we can get the barley here, all the barley that we need. The peat on the island, we have a plentiful supply of peat. Not that we use so much of it here at Bunnahabhain, but back in the days, there was plenty of peat for everybody, and there's plenty of peat here for hundreds more years.
Lovely.
Also, the island itself lends itself well to the old style of transportation, which was by boat.
So, could you walk me through why whiskies from Islay are so peated or smoky?
It's traditionally from the actual source of drying the barley,
Alright.
and that's the peat itself.
Okay.
Peaty taste in the whisky, that's right at the very start of the production process. It's part of the malting of the barley. If you don't have anything other than peat to burn, then that's what you're going to use.
Okay. Now, peaty and smoky, are they two different flavors, or are they the one and the same?
You're always going to have smoke, even if you don't have peat.
Okay.
I think sometimes the two terms do get confused, but you can always still have a smoky flavour because it's the smoke that drives the barley. There may not have been peat used to produce that smoke.
Yeah.
So, not really the same thing, but it does tend to get quoted in the same way.
All right. Fair enough. Well, that's a good sort of distinction to make. So, Islay has 8 distilleries. Am I right?
Correct.
And one more is coming up soon.
One coming along the way.
All right. So, what does the whiskey scene and its future hold here in Islay, in your opinion?
Hopefully it will continue to boom,
Yeah.
bring visitors to the place, generate income for the residents of the island, and make the island all the more popular throughout the world.
Okay. And can you talk to me a little bit about the history of the scene here in Islay? What are the broad strokes of the history of whiskey here?
Well, it's the generally held conception is that distillation of whisky was something that came over from Ireland. And if you know your geography at all, down at the south of the island, we're only about 20 miles from Ireland. And the Celtic nation was kind of filled. Scotland was populated from Ireland up the west coast. So we were the first stopping point for anybody coming across from Ireland, and they brought distillation with them. So back in the days, long before licensing rules, etc., whisky was made all over this island.
Yeah.
In a small way, illicit stills, etc. As time moved on and we moved into the years of licensing, then it simply expanded and was done on a much bigger scale.
Okay. How is whiskey here in Islay evolving with the times? We've had the long periods of age statements, sort of bourbon barrels, sherry barrels, casks. Are things evolving here? Are we seeing something new come out of the whiskey world here on Islay?
Certainly, for the most part, the bigger distilleries are doing what they do best. We are fairly set in the bulk of our production, but we will use occasionally different styles of casks. But further afield in the island, we have the likes of Kirkas, who are great experimenters. They're using a lot of different barleys, they're using so many different casks. They're using different varieties of yeast, etc. So there's a fair bit of experimentation going on there.
Would you say that the craft boom that the spirits world is going through has had a sort of heavy impact on how things are dealt with here on Islay?
It was almost, you could almost say one of the precursors to this craft distilling boom happened here. And that would have been a few years ago when Bruichladdich started doing the botanist gin. And we've seen a number of new gin distilleries that have opened since that time.
Okay.
So yeah, that's had a bit of an impact on it. And we're now obviously seeing a new distillery in the island, only 2 miles down the road from here at Ardnahoe. And while it's maybe it's a traditional style of Islay whisky that they are certainly going to be looking to produce, you could almost include them in the craft distilling range, if you like, at this point.
So would you say then that craft distilling, in a way, began here in Islay with the likes of Bruichladdich and such?
I think they certainly had a big influence on it. People saw how it could be done and how successful it could be.
Okay.
Like that.
What would you say to people who think that whiskies from Islay lack a complexity, that they're purely peat monsters, peat, and there's not much else here to be had?
I would say come and visit Bunnahabhain. We don't do a lot of peating here. Some years it's only 6 to 7 weeks of the year we're making a peated product. But all of the distilleries will occasionally throw in a bit of unpeated product as well. And for me, it's all about the maturation. It's all about the casks. So don't think that we're just a one-trick pony. There's plenty of variety here in the island.
All right, that's interesting. One last question I would like to ask. What is your favourite drink? Of all time, if you had to pick that one special drink, what would it be?
It has to be whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be a Bunnahabhain.
A company man through and through?
Absolutely not, because it was my favourite drink before I ever came to work in Bunnahabhain.
Oh.
And it's a Bunnahabhain dram called Old Acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
Old Acquaintance, a 1968 distillation, bottled in 2002, 34 years old, heaven in a glass.
It sounds lovely. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Kirkas Hetki kiittää. Seuraava kerralla. Ciao.